Hello, my name is Elmi, and I'm a current PGY3 internal medicine resident at Case Western Reserve University and a Capella Health Advocacy Fellow with Doctors for America. Today, I'll share my advocacy journey, my work addressing compounded medications and direct-to-consumer platforms, and the key lessons I've learned. Here's a little information about myself. I was born in Mogadishu, Somalia, a city full of life and resilience, but also shaped by the devastation of a civil war. When the conflict escalated, my family and I fled with nothing but hope for safety and the possibility for a better future. We found refuge in Nairobi, Kenya, where we lived as refugees for 10 years. Those years taught me the true meaning of perseverance, adaptability, and community. In 2004, our journey brought us to the United States, first to Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and eventually to Grand Rapids, Michigan, the place I came to call home. I went on to earn my BS in biology with a minor in chemistry from Calvin University, followed by an NPH in environmental science from Indiana University, Bloomington, and then returned to Michigan for medical school at MSU College of Human Medicine. The first advocacy journey began with organizations like Bethany Christian Services and Dégagé Ministries, which reflect the very spirit that carried us forward, offering safety, dignity, and opportunity when it's needed most. My own journey from a refugee child to a physician advocate has given me a deep understanding of what it means to overcome barriers. And it fuels my passion to fight for health equity so that every patient, no matter their origin story, has a chance to thrive. So, why Doctors for America? Well, I joined DFA because their mission perfectly aligns with my advocacy goals, which is advancing health equity, improving access to care, and addressing systemic barriers. DFA amplifies physicians' voices, connects us to policymakers, provides training, and builds a network of clinicians committed to evidence-based public health policy. Within the DFA, I was part of the FDA task force, which mobilizes clinicians to engage with FDA regulatory process, advocate for a robust and independent FDA, and speak out against actions that undermine patient safety. I participated in meetings with policymakers on Capitol Hill to discuss how regulatory gaps and staffing shortages can affect patient care and erode public trust. One area that caught my attention was direct-to-consumer compounding. And together, we will become experts as we take a deeper dive into the topic of compounding and FDA's oversight. Compounding is the process of combining, mixing, or altering ingredients to create a medication tailored to meet the needs of an individual patient, often used when no FDA-approved drug is suitable, such as for allergies to inactivate ingredients, or when a liquid form is needed instead of a pill. Unlike FDA-approved drugs, compounded medications are not reviewed by the FDA for safety, effectiveness, or quality before they are dispensed. Instead, their preparation is regulated primarily by state boards of pharmacy, with FDA oversight in certain cases, such as for outsourcing facilities under Section 503B of the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. Because they do not undergo the same pre-market review, compounded drugs may carry risks such as contamination, potency variability, or formulation errors, risks that can be heightened when poor compounding practices are followed or when medications are obtained from unregulated sources. This is especially concerning with the rise of direct-to-consumer platforms selling compounded medications like insulin and GLP-1 receptor agonists. Such platforms may bypass FDA oversight and patient safeguards, making regulatory enforcements and clinician awareness critical to protecting public safety. My advocacy action aimed to address these gaps. I developed a legislative toolkit for Representative Chantel Brown and other policymakers. This resource outlines the FDA-aligned definitions, explains regulatory loopholes, presents real-world patient safety risks, and offers targeted policy recommendations. The goal was to give lawmakers a concise, evidence-based foundation for action to ensure that patient safety is not compromised by the rapid expansion of unregulated DTC compounding platforms. My most memorable fellowship experience was advocating on Capitol Hill. I met with Representative Chantel Brown's legislative assistant, Lindsay Hanna, to address the ongoing shortages of insulin and GLP-1 agonists and their direct impact on patient care. I shared my educational tool, which highlighted the dangers of unregulated direct-to-consumer platforms, underscoring how these channels can bypass critical safety safeguards. I emphasized the urgent need for stronger oversight and the enforcement to protect patients from unsafe, substandard, or misleading marketing medications. Here are the lessons that I've learned. My Capella Fellowship reinforced that meaningful advocacy requires both strategic storytelling and a clear understanding of policy landscapes. I learned how to translate clinical experiences into compelling narratives that resonate with legislators, building bridges between patient care and policy change. Fellowship deepened my ability to navigate legislative process, frame public health risks in ways that prompt action, and work collaboratively with multidisciplinary teams to amplify a unified message. Most importantly, I recognize that sustained impact comes from persistence, following up, maintaining relationships, and continuing to educate decision makers long after the initial meeting. This experience not only shaped my advocacy skills, but also strengthened my commitment to use my voice as a physician to advance equitable and evidence-based health policies.